It's time to talk BC football with head coach Jeff Hafley. Now, here's John Meterparel.
And good evening, everybody. It's great to have you with us for another edition of the BC Football Show. Always fun on a Wednesday to take a deep dive into our next opponent. That is the Pitt Panthers coming into Alumni Stadium on Saturday at 4. Coach, good to see you. And first of all, congratulations on another gritty effort. I know it wasn't a W. Probably would have liked to have seen that, but it's still, in my book, a terrific effort by the Eagles, and I'm sure you learned a lot from it. What did you learn?
Thanks, John. I appreciate you having me back on. And yeah, we did. We learned a lot about our team. I think it gave us a little bit of confidence, and our players feel good right now, like they can line up and play against anybody. At the same time, it also showed our guys that we need to do the little things if we're going to win the big games like that. And you saw it. Too many penalties, too many self-inflicted moments where it's 3rd and 1 and now it's 3rd and 6, or it's 1st and 10 and now it's 1st and 15, or vice versa. It's 3rd and 2 and we jump off sides and it's a free first down. So it's always about the process and it's always about the small details. So I love the effort, love it. And I love the team and I love the way they fight and I love the way they stick together. And right now I would say that those group of guys do that as well as anybody in the country. We have to just continue to dive into the little things and do better, practice better, the little details better, continue to learn our systems. But the way the guys have bounced back in practice, it's just a great group and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you get a sense watching it from high above that you're just an inch away. It's almost one of those things where you can just sense it's going to happen, that breakthrough moment. You've had a few of them, but maybe not the 60-minute breakthrough moment. You saw it against Duke. You saw it against Texas State with the comeback. And Saturday they were there, but just not enough. Is that correct?
Yeah, you hit it on the head. And I think if you really look close, and I looked really hard, one at myself and then the staff and then obviously the team, we have to start fast. I mean, it's right now in the fourth quarter, I think we've given up 3 points and we've probably thrown for more yards than anybody in the country in the fourth quarter. In the third quarter, it's the same way. Our defense has been lights out in the second half, but where is that in the first quarter? We gave up 14 points in the first quarter last week. The week before, it was the same thing. But we got to come out of the gates because this team shows they can finish, but now we need to start faster. So that's kind of been my message to the group this week.
How do you put that together, Coach, in terms of the consistency aspect? You still got some young guys working into maybe some unfamiliar roles. Offensive line still, do you feel like they're still sorting things out up there?
Well, I think last week I thought our offensive line took a big step. I mean, we threw the ball a handful of times against a really good front and some very fast linebackers. And you got to give those guys a lot of credit for protecting Phil the way he did. So hopefully everybody will see that and they'll be happy with their progress because I am. And I would tell you if I didn't feel that way. As far as starting fast goes, I think you still get our team still feeling everything out, right? It is a new scheme, offense, defense, special teams. And each week we played a very different style of offense and defense. So I think there's some things that we'll learn through time. But the whole feeling out thing, I think our guys just got to come out with the same confidence that they finish a game in. And I'm going to work hard on trying to do that the best that I can.
Clearly the team's working hard throughout this whole process. It's been amazing to watch them throughout the whole COVID situation. We're going to get to that. But the 2-point conversion at the end, you got a chance to tie the game. Such a great moment with a touchdown. You go for 2 to tie it up. What happened there? Why the errant situation?
Well, it was one, I got to give them credit. They took a defensive end and they really grabbed on to Hunter and they doubled him. At the same time, the play's got 3 options to it. I don't want to go into too much detail on the 3 options because it's a really good play. I thought it was an awesome call by Coach Signetti. I actually saw it on the Thursday practice. I saw him run it and I said, I love it. And when he called it, I said, we're going to get this. And they made a good play. Unfortunately, the other option was there. We probably would have walked in the end zone. But it happens. And like I said, a really good call on their part. And their player made a good play. And we'll learn from it for sure.
I thought your third down defense got better in the second half. I know that's something you've been working on throughout the last 3 games. What do you have to do to make sure that area continues to improve?
Yeah, that's a really good observation. And I said that, I believe, at halftime. They were like 7 of 8 in the first half. And it's the same thing if you look back to the last game. We're right there. I mean, we are right there. We just got to finish. And the other thing that you're going to see is the quarterback break in the pocket. a lot of times last week how he'd do a good job, and all of a sudden it was off schedule. He'd beat a guy to the contain, run around, and find a guy. We have to make quarterbacks play the quarterback position in the pocket, and that starts with me and the staff. We got to do a better job of coming up with schemes to make sure we keep them in the pocket. And then when our players get a chance to finish and make those sacks, they got to finish. And we'll continue to work on that, and I'll make sure I do a better job there as well. But we got to get off the field on third down.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that we've seen the last couple of years, but it looks like maybe a little confidence boost. And speaking of confidence boost, Hunter Long's injury, maybe we heard you on ABC. I guess the advantage of having no fans in the stands is maybe not for you, but for us, you can hear everything. You fired the team up. It was a horrendous situation after North Carolina was cheering after the injury, which looked like a serious injury. But you thought that was Bush League, and we all agreed, and maybe that's something the team capitalized on a little bit?
Well, I don't know. I mean, truthfully, I kind of got caught up in the moment a little bit. I'm out there with Hunter just trying to make sure he's okay, and you guys obviously heard what I said. But for anybody that knows me and gets to know me, I am who I am. And I told our players I'd always have their back, and I mean that. And whatever it takes for me to do to show them that or make sure that they feel that, I'm going to do it. And at the time, I felt like it was the right thing to do, and I called up the team. And after that, I felt like we had a lot of juice. But yeah, I mean, you guys heard what I said. I got to look out for my guys, John.
No, and you certainly do. And we couldn't believe that they were actually doing that. That speaks a lot to what happens with that program. But Hunter Long has been fantastic. That's an understatement with 25 catches, most in the country by a tight end. I think clearly the best tight end in the country right now. I thought you made a good point this week about not only his receiving ability, but his blocking ability. And that's what's going to take him even higher in the next level, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, there's just not many guys that do that. And you got to give him the credit, which is so awesome. You know what, truthfully, the one thing I learned about him after that game was how tough he was. I knew he was tough. You want to talk about a kid lying on the ground. I thought he had the wind knocked out of him, right? Because, you get hit there and you have a hard time breathing, but it lasted for a longer period of time. And he came right back and said, I'm ready. And then in the locker room, they wanted to check him out, and he didn't want to be checked out. He looked at me and said, Coach, I'm playing. I said, all right, man, you're playing. We got to check you out to make sure you're okay too. So they checked him out, and he did not want to be checked out. He just wanted to sit down, get the game plan for the second half and go. Credit to him. What a tough kid he is. Truly happy to have him on our team.
Yeah, no, that's certainly a testament to his mental fortitude. And I think the entire team is showing that grit that you want. I'm sure maybe it's a little difficult now for a guy like David Bailey, who probably came into the year thinking, all right, I could be a 1,000-yard rusher. I had 844 last year, and it's been slow developing for him. Mentally for him, what's the game like now? Maybe not receiving as many touches as he thought he was going to get.
For sure. And I mean, I had a good talk with him this week, and I still bet he's going to be a 1,000-yard rusher. We're 3 games in, and we're feeling out our offense and we're feeling out our defense. And some teams are going to load the box, and some are now going to have to defend the pass. So just like we threw the ball 58 times last week, there's going to be a game when he might carry the ball 35 times. Told him to stay the course. The greatest thing about him is he's just such a good player. He can help us out in the pass game. You saw him catch the ball. He can block. But the telling thing that I saw in that game, he had one run, and he ran over a few guys. He had a look in his eye, and I felt pretty good about him. So I'm proud of the way he's handled everything, and his time will come.
I think a lot of guys are starting to emerge. You mentioned Bailey's touchdown catch, the first of his career, but C.J. Lewis, we've seen him in the program the last 3 years, fits the part, has all the moving parts, but maybe now he's starting to get more acquitted with the system. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. And unfortunately for him, he's been on the receiving end of several touchdowns that have been called back for penalties. So I was really excited for him when he got that touchdown. And again, it's kind of like I'll make the comparison to Hunter. What's so impressive, and you probably don't see it on TV, is the way this kid blocks and gets after DBs. If I was the DB coach like I've been forever, he'd be a guy that would drive me nuts because constantly it's just going at him and going at him. And there's not many receivers that do that. That's what our program is going to be built on. Guys who are going to get the ball, want their touches, but at the same time, when it's time to go block someone, they're going to get after people. So a lot of credit to what he's done off the TV also.
Yeah, no, those are the game within the game things the coaches love. Defensively, we talked about Jamin Moose last week, but I think the blitz that he brought to Howell causing the Sebastian interception. I mean, you're a DB coach. You love seeing that.
Yeah, he did a really nice job. You know, we talk constantly. You know, we love sacks, but we want the ball. So anytime that we're close, we want the ball. So he did a great job of chopping the ball out. The ball goes up in the air, and Sebastian so aggressively went up and caught it. And I think right there is when the momentum swung, and you can just kind of feel us even more really start to believe. Great play by him.
Coach, overall, when you look at this game and you move on to Pitt, I saw in the post game on the Twitter account, it's great coverage. Your speech was very inspirational. A stick together theme. They're going to win a lot of games if they stick together, don't get down. That's something you got to carry throughout the rest of the year, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And you talk about grit and you talk about toughness, and I talk about the process and how hard our guys work every single week. And people don't realize that's not easy. It's really, really hard. In order to prepare for a game and feel great and feel confident like we have, and I really walked into every single game thinking we're going to win, you got to go so hard from Sunday until Friday. And it's not always easy when you lose, and it's not always easy when you're sore, and it's not always easy when you don't feel right. So to keep that going, we got to stick together, and we got to push each other. And, you know, just like the players need to hear it from me, I need to hear it from the coaches, and we all got to do it together. And it will be hard, but we're going to push through it, and we're going to do it.
Yeah, now that you're 3 games in, do you feel like, you know what, I got a good handle on it? Are you feeling more confident in terms of your game management, in terms I know first week you said you did a couple things wrong. Do you feel like you're improving?
Yeah, I do. And I think I have to improve. And I still think I need to do a better job. And all I can do is every week look back hard and look at everything that I did, all the decisions I made, whether it's going forward on 4th down, how I control the 2-minute timeouts. You know, I tried the 1 onside kick. Should I try to punt fake here, a field goal fake here? I look hard at myself first, and I still don't think I've been good enough. And I'll probably always keep that mentality, because the moment I think I am is probably when I'll be very bad. So I got to be better, and I will be better. And I think this whole year for me, I'll continue to improve. But people can be assured that I'm going to do the best I can. And if I don't have all the answers, I'm going to get them.
What's been the most difficult adjustment for you?
The hardest thing is, you know, usually once the defense gets off the field, I just kind of look through my notes, start talking to the defensive guys, go over all the plays. Sometimes I get so caught up in doing that where all of a sudden I look over and it's 3rd down or 2nd down and they're trying to get me on the offensive headsets. I just got to get doing that quicker and then go back to the offense. Where like the first game, I was so like trying to get into the offensive headset that I wasn't doing as good of enough job on defense. So now I'm just working to find the happy medium.
Well, you're finding it. There's no doubt about that. This is the BC Football Show. We're here with Jeff Hafley, as we always are on Wednesday night. Good to have you with us. We're going to take our first time out coming up. We'll look ahead to Pittsburgh and also talk about the direction of the offense and the BC defense. This is the BC Football Show. Stick around after this from Bud Light.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer. IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Boston College 1992 alum Matt McGovern is the proud owner of the McGovern Auto Group, Boston's fastest growing family of car dealerships. Matt is proud to serve BC, its students, and their families, with 11 dealerships across the Boston Metro and over 5,000 vehicles to choose from. Don't settle for a new vehicle from just anyone. Join your fellow Eagles Matt McGovern, Mark Walker, Christine Hyde, and Tom Kilgariff at McGovern Auto Group. Visit them online at McGovernAuto.com. Go Eagles!
This is Karen's experience. I looked at houses for over a year, but only had a weekend to lock in an offer. At Cambridge Savings Bank, we know your home buying experience will be unique, which is why our dedicated mortgage loan experts work closely to understand you on a personal level, giving you the support and confidence to make smart decisions fast, especially on weekends. See how Cambridge Savings Bank can help you get home at cambridgesavings.com. Member FDIC, member DIF, equal housing lender, NMLS number 543370.
Guys, we work hard and play even harder. That's why Hadjars believes that you should feel your best all the time. From casual wear to the perfect tailored suit for all the big and tall guys out there. Do yourself a favor and dress like the Eagles do on game day. Get to Hadjars, where they have been delivering confidence to the better-than-average man for the past 50 years. Visit Hadjars showrooms in Quincy or Burlington, or go to big-tall.com for more information. That's big-tall.com. Go BC!
To all our patients, now is the time to protect your health by getting the important screenings you need. Newton Wellesley Hospital is here, safe and ready to care for you. For now and whatever comes next, no matter what.
For early detection of breast cancer.
For early detection of colon cancer.
For your health and well-being.
We're here for you. Come and get the care you need and deserve.
It's back. The return of the prestigious Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, honoring college sports excellence across all competitive divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow along with L Directors Cup on Twitter or online to see which schools will be taking home a first place trophy in June for their season-long success. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, a premier institutional award jointly launched in 1993 by USA Today and NACDA.
Played big for Howe on second and long, and the ball's batted out of his hands, and it's picked off by Brandon Sebastian, who's down at the 5. The blitz causing the interception by Sebastian, and the Eagles have a turnover. They're one of the top turnover teams in the country, and Sebastian has the pick. How do you like that?
This is the Boston College Football Show, presented by Bud Light. For more of tonight's show, here again, John Meterparel.
Welcome back to the BC Football Show. You can join the BC Gridiron Club and support the Football Eagles. Benefits include home game tailgates, away game venue bashes, and unprecedented team and program access. Sign up at bcfootballgridiron.com. Coach, you just heard the Sebastian interception. You know, turnovers have been quite the positive number for BC the last few years, and I know you probably were keeping an eye on that, even at Ohio State. An opportunistic defense, to say the least, and is that just a DNA thing, or is that where's that coming from?
Well, it's one of the first things we talk about when we get together with the defense every single day. You know, the philosophy is built on our scheme is eliminate explosives. We believe that giving up big plays is the quickest way to lose a football game on defense. You know, we want to make a team drive the length of the field and earn every yard they get and earn every touchdown they get. And then the second is attacking the ball. So it's something we practice every day. And the other thing with our scheme is, you know, we constantly just talk about fundamentals and technique, which is way different than so many other places where they get so wrapped up in, you know, let's design this great blitz and this great coverage. And you can do that. And I've done that in my career, but then you rarely get good at the core foundation of what defensive football is. It's tackling, it's blocking, it's leverage, it's where are your eyes. So when you teach that and you teach all those little things, you can then teach going after the football, which is what we need to do on defense. And we have had turnovers. I don't even think we're attacking the ball well enough yet. And we told the team that, we told the defense that on Monday or Tuesday when we met. We got to go after the ball more. I want to see more violent punches and violent rips. And I want to just take it from people more like we did in the first game. So yeah, we're plus, 7 or 8 right now, but we could be so much better than that.
Well, that's certainly nice to hear, that the fact that you, when you preach that at practice, is that, take us inside the practice session. How much hitting do you do? How much of that do you do in terms of contact?
Well, I believe tackling is so important and so underrated. And, most people will say, well, nowadays you can't tackle. You don't have time to do live tackling. Well, why not? When I got to Ohio State last year, it's the same thing that I saw. They weren't a good tackling team. So in Indy every day, we did live tackling. And in Indy here I believe it is every Tuesday, we live tackle. Every player gets 1 or 2 live controlled tackles. It doesn't have to be in a team setting where a guy catches the ball and gets his head taken off. You set up a very safe drill in open field where you run full speed and you got to make a tackle one-on-one. It's the only way to get better at it. And it's not easy. Tackling's hard. Playing defense is hard. Playing football is hard. So if we don't train those things, it's an injustice to the players. So yeah, I don't buy the whole there's no time to hit live. So I don't believe that, and we do it. And when we get into a team setting, we wrap up and we drive and we run people back. We don't tag off. We don't throw our shoulders into people. We wrap, we squeeze, and we drive for 5. So we're constantly talking about that.
And we got one viewer coach saying that they love the defensive line's intensity, and they take after their coach V, Big Vince. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, there's times during the game where I'm trying to talk or get something out, and like all I hear is him yelling and screaming. Where I got to tell him to turn his mic off or flip it up in the air. So he gets so fired up, and that's one of the best things about him is he's so smart. I mean, really smart. This is a guy who will be a coordinator. Probably be a head football coach. And it's not just the D line. He knows what the back end's doing. He knows what the backer's doing. He sees the big picture. And then he coaches so hard. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but I think I said this before. I've never seen a guy be able to rotate players in like he does. It's the craziest thing. I look up from the sheet sometimes, and he's got like 5 guys in, 5 guys out. I'm like, and we never seem to get 12 or 10 on the field. But what an incredible job he's done. And I really mean that. If you want to look at a part of our team that you would say, where do you have to really take some steps and make improvements? And he's done that in a pretty short period of time, and we're very fortunate to have him here.
What are you looking for when you hire an assistant coach?
Well, I want somebody who is a great recruiter. I think that's so important. You obviously, the way I look at it is you got your 2 coordinators, right? And then I think for the assistants, their number one job is they need to be great recruiters. They have to be more than scheme, right? I mean, that's college football. And I'm talking about that as far as scheme, recruiting, obviously great people. If you look, I've said this, I think I said at my press conference, you win with people. I mean, I believe this staff is great people who care about kids. They love kids. They care just as much if the kid's not going to class and if he's missing tutoring as they do how these guys played. That's what this staff is built on. It's good people who care about the team. They care about each other. And if you guys could be in our office, you guys would see it and you'd feel it. And then as far as everything else goes, like I said, great recruiter and then a great teacher. A position coach has to be an amazing teacher. Anybody can know scheme. Anybody can know how to do fundamentals, but can he teach it and can he get his message across? And that's what we have. And he's a clear example, phenomenal teacher, great human being, smart. But those are some of the things we look for.
And I think from a refreshing perspective as well, you say recruiting for you is you don't care who else is recruiting the kid. You're still going to be in the room. If it's Alabama, if it's Clemson, if it's LSU, you don't care. You're still going after that type of kid, right?
Yeah, let's go fight our fight. If you like a kid and you're convicted about a kid and you have a relationship with the kid, let's jump in the ring and start swinging as hard as we can. And if there's 50 kids like that and we only win 4, 5, 6, let's go win them. And don't get discouraged when you lose them. And as we build this thing, we'll continue to fight the fight. And the other thing I'll say is if there's a kid you really love and you're convicted about and you'll stand on the table for him, and if he doesn't have all those top offers and he only has a small school, who cares? You got to trust our evaluation. The problem people make is they don't evaluate tape that fit the scheme we're running. Just because a kid's a 5-star or 4-star, he might not fit with what we're doing, or truthfully, he might not even be a great player. There's 2-stars that I've been around that have turned out to be better players than 5-stars. So let's do our evaluation. Let's watch the tape. Let's get to know the kid. Let's see if he fits in our scheme, and let's go recruit the heck out of him.
Yeah, and when BC's had success, it's been that 2 or 3-star kid. The obvious examples are Matt Ryan and Luke Kuechly, and 2 Hall of Fame caliber talents. And they came to BC and they were coached up to be better.
That's right.
They obviously had talent, but those are the type of kids that you're looking for, I'm guessing.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I want smart, tough, reliable guys who are good football players. And then with good coaches, let's go develop them. And, maybe year 1 or year 2, they might not be as good as Clemson or Alabama's freshmen, but by the time that kid is a senior, let's go. We want to have a team full of those guys, and let's go play against anybody.
And when you look at a Pittsburgh now coming in, clearly a challenge. They were 24th before their loss last week. It was a 1-pointer. By all accounts, 9 times out of 10, they probably win that game. But the complexities of what do they present that are challenging for you?
Well, on defense, they're very aggressive. Their front 4, especially their 2 defensive ends, are very, very good players. I mean, nationally, they're on the top of the list in sacks. You know, their defensive line coach is one of my best friends. I think he's one of the best coaches in the country, and he's one of the best recruiters in the country. And he's done an unbelievable job, especially at that position. So you're going to see a really talented front. And then you're going to see a very, very aggressive front seven. If you guys watch the TV, you'll probably see 11 guys in the picture on defense, which is somewhat rare. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to sell out to stop the run, and on pass downs, they're going to say our front's going to get you, and you're not going to have time to throw the ball. We still need to be able to run the football, and that will set up our pass game, and we got to be able to protect. Definitely a challenge up front. I think, you know, nationally they're ranked in the tops in everything, every category on defense. I know Coach Narduzzi's heavily involved with the D, and he has been, and they're tough and they play hard. Offensively, I think it all starts with their quarterback. I think he's one of the most underrated ones in the ACC. I know we talked last week about North Carolina. I think he's just as good, and he has more experience, which probably puts him right now at a bigger comfort level. He can run the ball. He is tough now. You want to talk about some shots he took at NC State, one targeting call that he got hit in the head and he bounced right back up. I have a ton of respect for him. Just like last week, he'll try to move around in the pocket, spin around, and make plays down the field. I think he threw for 400 plus yards last week. A really good player. And that's when you get a guy who's been a starter for 3 years and is leading the team. It's a good offense. I mean, think about Phil right now, 3 years from now, right? That's what they're dealing with. Offensive line, I think they're very well coached and they play very well together. They probably, out of all the teams we played, I wouldn't say that they're the most talented group, but together they are because they play well. Their combination blocks, the way they work together, the way they pick up blitzes. I know the center is one of their captains. It's a really good, well-coached group that seems to really play very well together. And then the biggest difference is, I was at Pitt for quite a bit, around guys like LaShawn McCoy and Deion Lewis and Ray Graham. And there's always been the really good back. And 22 is a good player. There's no doubt he's a good player. Quick, can accelerate, cuts the ball back and goes. But what they got now, even on top of that, is they got speed at wide receiver. Number 3, number 7, number 11, number 18. They got guys that can go. I mean, that freshman number 3 and the transfer number 7, and even number 11, they got good speed out there. They've done a really good job recruiting. Again, it's another week, right? Texas State, fast receivers. North Carolina, I mean, those guys looked like trees out there, and they were fast receivers. And here we go again. And give our DBs credit from last week. I mean, you watch that game closely. The coaches did an incredible job with those DBs. We did not get the ball thrown over our head. We competed violently at the reception point. What an incredible job, because they tried to throw it over our head. Sorry, I went off on a little tangent there, but
no,
about Pitt, it's
great stuff.
Ourselves.
No, it's great stuff, and there's no doubt could be another track meet. Seems like every week it's a track meet in the ACC. Coming up, our final segment with Coach Jeff Hafley before Pete Cronin joins us to wrap it up, but we will dive further into Pitt. This is the BC Football Show, back with more after this from Bud Light.
Get your ice cold Bud Light. Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Boston College 1992 alum Matt McGovern is the proud owner of the McGovern Auto Group, Boston's fastest growing family of car dealerships. Matt is proud to serve BC, its students, and their families, with 11 dealerships across the Boston Metro and over 5,000 vehicles to choose from. Don't settle for a new vehicle from just anyone. Join your fellow Eagles Matt McGovern, Mark Walker, Christine Hyde, and Tom Kilgariff at McGovern Auto Group. Visit them online at McGovernAuto.com. Go Eagles!
Technology has sure changed the way we live and bank. But one thing it should never change is the importance of knowing that when you need help, there's a neighbor that's there to lend a hand. At the Village Bank, we offer all the services you need to bank more easily, but with that personal touch that seems to be so hard to find today. To learn more about how we can help you, call 617-969-4300. Stop in or visit village-bank.com. Either way, we'll be there for you.
The Village Bank, member FDIC, member DIF. Sullivan Tire and Auto Service is celebrating our 65th anniversary with amazing deals on quality brand name tires for any vehicle. With the winter driving season not far off, Sullivan Tire has thousands of tires on sale from Goodyear, Michelin, Kelly, BF Goodrich, Yokohama, and more. Also save on auto repair as our ASE certified technicians get your car ready for any kind of weather. Locations all over New England, including Newton, Brookline, Somerville, and Watertown. Find out more and make an online appointment at sullivantire.com. Go BC.
Mom, I think this doll I found in the attic is cursed.
No, its eyes are just very lifelike.
Then why does its head keep spinning?
Be my friend forever.
Oh, that is scary.
You know what's really scary? Missing out on Geico's easy-to-use mobile app. You can manage your Geico policy whenever, wherever.
Let's play with another doll. Or we can just bury it deep in the ground.
Happy Geico-ween. Download the industry-leading Geico app today.
The passion.
25, first down, 20, 15, 10, 5, 3, 2, 1.
The fury.
Getting blitzed. Down he goes.
The speed.
Juggled and it's going to be
Western College football.
toward the end zone. Got it for 6 points. You can unhitch the wagon. Put the ponies in the barn. Over the shoulder. Get 30, 20.
Say goodnight to this one. This is the College Football Blitz. Listen on Saturdays this fall.
Starting at noon Eastern Time on ESPNU Radio, Channel 84.
Jacoby to the gun, single wide. Lewis to the near side, 2 wides to the far. Jacoby will screen, and it's caught. Touchdown, David Bailey, Boston College. And Bailey with the touchdown. He's the Eagle in the end zone. Is that foul-worthy? It certainly is foul-worthy.
You're listening to the Boston College Football Show, presented by Bud Light. Once again, here's John Meterparel.
Big moment for the Eagles, part of a big day for Phil Jurkovec, who continues to pile up the passing yards, throwing the ball more than 50 times against the Tar Heels. Welcome back to the BC Football Show. Great to have you with us. Thanks for spending part of your Wednesday with us. I'm John Meterparel with the coach, Jeff Hafley. Jeff, you look very favorably upon your time spent in Pittsburgh. What did you learn about yourself when you were coaching there?
Well, it was the first time I really got to coach Division I football, and there's so many stories and so many great people that I got to be around. I went there as a GA. I was 25, 26 years old. I left a full-time job, and I went to work with Paul Rhodes and Dave Wanstead, 2 of the greatest coaches and people that I've ever been around. 2 of my biggest mentors, and probably the reason I'm sitting here right now, truthfully, and around a lot of good people. When I got there, I coached the corners my first year there, and I never really coached Division I football. And there was a good corner who wore number 25, and I think the first 3 passes thrown at him that year, he returned for touchdowns. So I was like, wow, this is going to be simple. Well, his name was Darrell Revis, and I still haven't really coached many people like him. So I thought life was going to be really easy. And it never was quite as easy when he left, but around a lot of really good people. I learned it's what I really wanted to do. I became really tight with that team, tight with people in the city, in the school. I still talk to a ton of those players, a ton of guys that are still around there in the athletic department. And it really sprung my career. 2 years as a GA. I'll never forget the day Dave Wanstead called me in. Basically I slept in the office there for 2 years. He called me down the hall when there was a coaching change, and he said, I'm going to name you the secondary coach. 26, 27-year-old guy. I remember where I was when I called my mom and dad and told them, and it was one of those moments that just changes your life forever. And I mean forever. And I was fortunate enough to be there for 3 more years after that. Great people. And it's really where it all begun for me. It was a special 5 years of my life. I met my wife there. So a lot of special moments. One of the greatest 5 years of my career.
Yeah, what a great summary about what that place means to you. And I can only imagine getting that first call, your first job as a secondary coach. And Dave Wansted's still a special guy for you, but also Pat Narduzzi reached out before your first game and after the first game. What did that text mean to you?
Well, it just shows you what a good guy he is. It really even started before that. We were sitting on a Zoom call like this, and here I am, and really nobody knows who I am. And it's Mac Brown and Pat Narduzzi and Dabo, and I could go on, and I'm just kind of sitting there listening and taking notes and learning. And when the meeting was done, he shot me a text and gave me a call and said, "Hey, man, defensive guys got to stick together. If you need anything, let me know." And he's checked in and he's called me, and I appreciate that. As much as we compete against each other, and he wants to beat me as bad as I want to beat him, at the end of the day, we're both football coaches, and I'm very grateful as a young coach that, some of those guys have reached out and showed me that respect.
Their defense is clearly one of the best in the country. You mentioned that. They only give up 57.5 yards per game on the ground. You're trying to get your ground game going. How does that work this week with the collision course?
Well, I think just like any other game, you got to take what they give you. When you look at a team and you game plan someone, you look at one scheme, right? Is this a scheme that you can run the ball against, or do you have to throw the ball against? But then you dig really hard and you look for matchups. Is there a certain play we like to run for a certain reason and let's go attack it? Or do you start off throwing the ball so you can run the ball, or do you do it vice versa? But we're definitely not giving up on the run. I hope some people think we are. So when we start running the ball on people, that they can start thinking about that. But we're going to run the ball. We have a really good O-line. And I think last week watching that game, everybody can kind of put that to bed. Coach Applebaum's done a great job, stayed the course, been consistent. These guys are playing in a new scheme. They're great players and they're unbelievable kids, and we're going to get better. I know that.
Yeah, no, I think there's no doubt about that. And a lot of talent back there. Garwell, Bailey, Travis Levy. What's his status this week?
Travis is great. He had a good practice today. He was out there doing everything. So, again, you want to talk about a tough kid? Whew, that guy's going to play football for a long time, because what people don't understand is in the NFL, they watch everything. And when they turn on the tape and they see him playing running back and playing receiver, then the special teams coach is going to turn on the film, and they're going to see what he does on special teams, and he's going to go down to the head coach and saying, that's my pick. So everybody just watch out for that guy. That guy's got a big career ahead of him.
I don't doubt it. He certainly has had some terrific moments for the Eagles. Offensively for Pittsburgh, again, like yourself, they're trying to get their ground game going. But penalties were an issue too. We hadn't gotten to that yet. They had 11 defensive penalties. Pat Narduzzi says he was embarrassed after the game. What was that a product of?
Well, they were going hard count a lot. They were doing all the clapping. And I think, look, you have an aggressive D-line, right? They're built on their D-line. And truthfully, that's how they play, right? They get off the ball as fast as they can, as hard as they can. And I mean, like I said, you don't want to be first in penalties, but you don't want to be last. So those guys were getting off the ball and they were being aggressive. Now, there's a point when you got to pull it back a little bit, right? But you don't want to create robots either. And it's like us last week, right? We had those 2 personal fouls in a row. And truthfully, The first one, they didn't blow the whistle. And our guys finished to the whistle. The second one, yeah, we got a little too aggressive, and that's on me, and I need to control that. But at the same time, I want to toe the line and I want to play with an edge. And it can't be a dumb penalty. It can't be a foolish penalty. And it can't be an illegal penalty. But we have to play this game on defensive aggressively, and we're going to.
Play to the echo of the whistle, is that right?
That's right. Play, yeah.
That's something we've heard throughout.
We'll leave it at that. I like that.
All right, good. All right, keys to the game are brought to you by McGovern Auto Group, owned by Matt McGovern, BC class of 1992. McGovern Auto Group is the fastest growing auto group in the Boston area. You can visit one of their 14 locations or at McGovernAuto.com. All right, Coach, what do you have here to secure win number 3 against the Panthers?
Well, I think we talked about it earlier. We need to start faster. We got to get away from feeling out the opponent, going down, and then having to come back. I want to start fast. And then, like we talked, we got to eliminate the self-inflicted penalties. 1st and 10 can't be 1st and 15. 2nd and 5 can't be an automatic first down. I want to eliminate those penalties. We got to score in the red zone. We scored touchdowns in the red zone last week. We finished in the red zone last week, and we scored touchdowns, and we're sitting here at 3-0. Defensively, got to get off the field on 3rd down and contain this quarterback. Make him play football in the pocket. I think if we do all those things and go let it rip, I think our guys will play well.
There it is. Hashtag let it rip. We love it.
Ride
that mantra. Ride it, man. I'm telling you.
We got to patent it.
Absolutely. Look what it did for Phil Jackson.
Right.
Patton's work. Hey, when you have any downtime, I know you had great success in the NFL. Do you keep an eye on your former players in the NFL?
Definitely. Former players, former coaches. I'm tired more right now because I stayed up Sunday night cheering on the 49ers. Those games go late. All my friends that are coaching, I cheer for them hard. All the players I check in on, Kudar, Ned, all those young guys are still calling and texting me and trying to help give them advice the best that I can. The one thing with me is once I'm your coach, I'll be your coach forever. If guys ever need me, I will do whatever I can for those guys, and I'll never change.
And of course, the league is dealing with COVID issues. The Patriots are dealing with Stephon Gilmore today, Cam Newton the other day, Tennessee Titans, 22 players. But Boston College, over 4,000 tests for COVID-19, one positive since June 22nd. How is that possible?
Just our players have been incredible. Like I've said all along, it's their sacrifice. It's their love for one another. It's their love for their coaches. It's our coaches doing a good job and constantly being there for them, staying on top of them, reminding them. It's Father Leahy giving us every single resource. It's Pat Kraft, giving us everything that we need. It's our medical people. It's our training staff. It's everybody. And I can't thank everybody enough for that. It's not easy, John. And, there'll probably be a time when, we get somebody who has it. You just got to kind of do the best you can every single day and keep reminding them. But right now, what these players have done it is truly incredible. And I'm just really glad to be part of it.
It is. And we're going to keep talking about it every week because I think it's an unheralded aspect of your success here in the early going that needs to be definitely addressed because it's such a phenomenal job by you and the entire staff. Do you talk to other coaches about how they're handling it?
I do. Every week, some people call and ask me how we're doing it. And, some people think maybe we're not telling the truth all the time because they can't believe we've had so many tests and been here for so long. But it's hard. And I just like I told you how it happened, I'm not making it up. It's what we talk about. It's what we do. There's no magic. We got great players who love one another and we got a great staff.
And the key word is discipline, right?
That's right. It's discipline and sacrifice. It's not thinking about yourself. It's thinking about Hunter Long, who, it's thinking about Max. It's thinking about McDuffie. It's thinking if I'm a young player and I go risk it, and I'm not just doing that for myself, I'm doing it for my teammate. And if you can have that mentality, I think you can do it. I just think in life in general, if you can have that mentality where it's not about you, and it never is, and it never will be. And if you can think about other people and do things for other people, I just think you can make great things happen.
Speaking of the young guys, who's emerging in your eyes? Freshmen, redshirt freshmen, guys that might make contributions here down the road.
Well, I think you looked at a guy last week like Cam Arnold. I think you'll continue to see a young, true freshman like that continue to have some success. Hard to say right now. We got a lot of good young guys who are playing well and are going to get their opportunities, and hopefully we'll be talking about them more down the line here.
One guy that BC fans circled when he came here was Ozzie Trapillo and Mr. Pine as well. Two guys up front, obviously great lineages. How are they progressing?
They're two big tackles right now. Let me tell you that. I'm excited about them both. Great work ethic, great kids, great families. We'll be in good hands with our O-line for a long time with those young guys.
Good things to come. And Coach, before we let you go, a happy birthday to your 2-year-old daughter. Just celebrated her birthday yesterday. How was that celebration?
That was awesome. My daughter, Leah, she's 2 years old. Her and Hope and my wife, we had a birthday cake right before I came on. And I got some really good pictures. And then she ate the candle. So I had to get that out of her mouth because she thought that was ice cream. But John, it's crazy. I mean, literally, we were just talking. She was born in San Francisco. She moved to Columbus, Ohio when she was 1. Now she's in Boston. She's 2. And I'm hoping she gets to go to high school here.
We're all hoping that. Absolutely. That's great. She's going to have a lot of stories to tell. You're going to tell her about all these stories someday. But that's great, Coach. And certainly a very special moment for you guys and the family. And nothing but the best, of course, this week. We're looking forward to another great game against Pitt. And go get them, all right?
All right. Thanks a lot, John. I appreciate it.
That's our pleasure. Thank you very much. Jeff Hafley with us on the BC Football Show. Coming up after this timeout, the old linebacker and BC Hall of Famer Pete Cronin will join us with his breakdown on the Pitt Panthers. This is the BC Football Show, and we'll be back right after this.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Boston College 1992 alum Matt McGovern is the proud owner of the McGovern Auto Group, Boston's fastest growing family of car dealerships. Matt is proud to serve VC, its students, and their families, with 11 dealerships across the Boston Metro and over 5,000 vehicles to choose from. Don't settle for a new vehicle from just anyone. Join your fellow Eagles Matt McGovern, Mark Walker, Christine Hyde, and Tom Kilgariff at McGovern Auto Group. Visit them online at McGovernAuto.com. Go Eagles!
This is Tom's experience.
I was completely committed to buying a house. I just wasn't sure I could pull off a huge down payment.
At Cambridge Savings Bank, we know that your home buying experience will be unique. That's why our dedicated mortgage loan experts share your commitment, taking the time to truly understand your individual needs and working with you to find solutions that set you up for success. See how Cambridge Savings Bank can help you get home at cambridgesavings.com. Member FDIC, member DIF, equal housing lender, NMLS number 543370.
Guys, we work hard and play even harder. That's why Hadjars believes that you should feel your best all the time. From casual wear to the perfect tailored suit for all the big and tall guys out there. Do yourself a favor and dress like the Eagles do on game day. Get to Hadjars, where they have been delivering confidence to the better-than-average man for the past 50 years. Visit Hadjars showrooms in Quincy or Burlington, or go to big-tall.com for more information. That's big-tall.com. Go BC!
To all our patients, now is the time to protect your health by getting the important screenings you need. Newton Wellesley Hospital is here, safe and ready to care for you. For now and whatever comes next, no matter what.
For early detection of breast cancer.
For early detection of colon cancer.
For your health and well-being.
We're here for you. Come and get the care you need and deserve.
It's back, the return of the prestigious Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, honoring college sports excellence across all competitive divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow along with L Directors Cup on Twitter or online to see which schools will be taking home a first place trophy in June for their season-long success. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, a premier institutional award jointly launched in 1993 by USA Today and NACDA.
Second down and goal to 6. C.J. Lewis, touchdown! Boston College, a strike by Belcher Kovic to Lewis. He's the Eagle in the end zone. 45 seconds remaining. Take a bow, C.J. Lewis. You got 6. It's 24-22, North Carolina. How do you like that?
This is the Boston College Football Show, presented by Bud Light. For more of tonight's show, here again, John Meterparel.
Well, we like it a lot, and it's that time of day on the BC Football Show that we check in with the old linebacker, my broadcast partner, and the BC Hall of Famer, Pete Cronin. Yes, smiling proudly here in our Zoom session. Pete, good to see you. You know, talking to Coach Hafley, I said, wait a minute, I've heard this before. Someone celebrates a birthday by eating the candle. His daughter Leah ate the candle. I've seen Cronin do that on a few cakes.
It's good for the cholesterol. Hey, I see I got the memo on the red jersey, huh? On the maroon jersey.
Yeah,
nice.
You did. We both have the Under Armour approved.
Nice. And you wonder, and folks, that didn't cost us a dime. Anyway, on to the next subject.
Hey, Pete, good to see you, man. And, always great to hear from the coach. And I know you learn a lot as you're listening throughout. And 3 games in, 2-1. We both feel like they had a great opportunity to win last week. But, credit to North Carolina for pulling it out at the end. But what have you learned about the Eagles thus far?
I talked about it last week, and I think the resilience, the grit is something that I just hope they can hold on to it. It's something that it's a foundational emotion. If they hold on to it, they're going to win football games. And I was thinking of a metaphor that you might appreciate. It's when you have bogeys in golf, as long as you're not getting double bogeys, they lead to pars. And when you get a lot of pars, they lead to birdies. And I think the effort that Boston College showed last week, we can get into the details, but the effort they showed last week was consistent with the effort we've seen throughout the season, and that things have not always gone well for them, but they've not folded their tents. They've been in every game. They pulled it out 2 weeks ago. They were not that fortunate this week, and we can get into why. But I think Coach Hafley has done a very good job of explaining, kind of full disclosure. they're fully aware of the kind of the macro reasons and many of the micro reasons why they didn't come away with a win on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I think there, a few misplays here and there, as he mentioned. It's just a matter of putting together a full 60 minutes. You talk about it all the time. It seems like we've hit on this for many years. It was a problem with the Steve Adazio regime. They just could not put together 60 minutes against better opponents. Question is, will that happen this week?
Well, I was thinking about a comment that he's made each week. And, one of the priorities is to start fast. And we as fans think the players need to start fast. When he's really talking to the whole organization, he's holding his coaches accountable to their responsibility to start fast just as much. Because if we look at one thing that we're very excited about with this staff is that their ability to make adjustments. And we've seen adjustments in the first half, but remarkable adjustments in the second half on both offense and defense. And in particular, when they're behind the eight ball, late third quarter into the fourth quarter, where you've seen this, they're playing with a sense of desperation, but they've been able to execute. So how do you inject that sense of desperation in the first quarter? And it's because it's clear that they can play under duress. I think it's a great compliment. He doesn't necessarily say it's about his coaches, or he implies it's his players, but he really is talking about everybody in the organization, which I think we should be optimistic about that.
Yeah, and they're going to need it again, no doubt, against a tough opponent this week in Pitt. When you examine the Panthers, what concerns you the most?
Well, you look about who they faced. Now, a week ago, they had on defense. There was they played a Don Brown-esque defense. There was something on every play, twists and stunts and blitzes, and really forced Boston College to think, to be smart and on their game. And typically, what happens is, when you're, the immortal words of Frank Spaziani, when you're thinking, you're stinking. So I think when you're forced to really, as an offensive lineman, are involved in the blocking scheme, when you're thinking about all the different things that might happen, you end up being just a half a click slower than you might be when you're just going out and knocking somebody off the ball. Okay, that's one of the benefits of this kind of over the bow defense. This week's a little bit different. These guys, they are pretty basic. They're pretty fundamental. They play primarily a three-man front, but they walk 4 or 5 down inside the box. And depending on the situation, they can bring all 5 or 6, or they may only bring 3. And I mean, it's a little, I think it's a little confusing because they do a lot of things, but they don't do them every down. The other thing about this team on defense is, they're very good in man coverage. They play primarily in man behind. The front seven's very strong. The back end is very athletic, and they're going to force you to throw the ball on rhythm or throw early, which puts pressure obviously on the quarterback, but also it puts pressure on receivers to get some semblance of separation against man coverage. So it's a big challenge for BC. And of course, BC talks about running the ball. Of course, they want to run the ball, but this is a defense that's given up, 130 yards a game on the ground. BC is only averaging 70 on the ground. You can talk about running the ball, but you got to come out and do it. And I think last week they didn't run the ball for 4 possessions, something like that, because it was the game plan dictated that they anticipated North Carolina playing tough against the run, and they threw the ball in theory to set up the run. We might see that again this week, but I think BC is very aware that they're going to need the ball control this against Pittsburgh.
Do you agree with Coach Hafley's keys? Eliminate self-inflicted wounds, start fast, score in the red zone.
Well, eliminate self-inflicted wounds. There are many reasons why the BC was on the wrong side of that score last week. But if you go to that sequence where they had 3 consecutive 15-yard penalties, defense held tough. They forced North Carolina to settle for a field goal attempt, which they converted. Now, if you don't have those 3 penalties and you get the ball back, that's 3 points off the board. Now take those 3 points off the board at the end of the game. BC, that last drive, wins it instead of having to go for 2 for the tie. So, and that's just one example. There are many in there. I don't want to make that one thing. It gets back to playing discipline. And when players are playing aggressive football, he talks about playing with an edge, understandable. The player has to understand where they draw the line so that they play aggressively, they play with an edge, but they do not jeopardize the game and put their team in harm's way.
Yeah, well said, Pete. And we're going to have much more with you coming up on Saturday at 4:00. You ready? Are you in Maine right now?
I'm in Maine, and I've got my stuff all spread out here. I haven't put the Frankenstein monster together yet, but I will by Saturday.
But the good thing is you always have it. Come game time, Cronin is ready to go.
Well, be prepared, as the Boy Scout said.
It's that NFL mentality, right?
Well, why would you go into a quiz without having the answers if they let you?
You never did that at BC. That's
never
sure, right.
Well, no, only when I studied did I have the answers. It's a simple method, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, we wish we had more time with you, but we do appreciate it as always. We look forward to seeing you come 3:30 with our pregame show. Pete, have a great rest of the week.
You too, Meek. Talk to you soon, buddy. Be safe.
All right. Thank you very much. That's Pete Cronin from his palatial estate in Maine. Special thanks to those who made it possible, including our producer back in the studio, Wolf Golke, of course, Jason Baum, and the entire staff at Boston College. For Jeff Hafley and Pete Cronin, I'm John Meterparel, reminding you to join us again Saturday. Our broadcast time, 3:30, along the Learfield IMG College Network. The Eagles take on Pittsburgh. You can hear it locally, Sports Radio WEI 93.7 FM. Until then, have a great night, everybody.